Okay, so we're going to start a whole new chapter here, and this chapter has some really particular vocabulary that we really have to get familiar with before we get started. So instead of me sitting up front and talking to you about this, I'm going to have you go home and watch this and learn a little bit about it yourself. So on that sheet that I gave you and the sheet that's attached to the Google Classroom, if you didn't remember to bring it home, you're going to record your definitions, and when you're finished, we're going to glue this into our notebook so we have it ready for us to go. Okay, so our first definition that we're going to have down is called an algebraic expression. And this is just an expression that may contain numbers, operations, and one or more symbols. So it's really just anything that doesn't have an equal sign is considered an expression. So if you see here, these ones right here, it's got a number, it's got variables, it's got operations. The plus sign is an operation. It's got symbols. Okay, an expression is just an equation without an equal sign. Okay, we just don't know what it equals yet. And sometimes we're asked to simplify an expression, and sometimes it's just what it is. It's evaluated. So, an algebraic expression is something that has numbers, operations, and some symbols. A term is any part of the algebraic expression. So when there's a part of an algebraic expression or a term, it is separated by an operation. So this is a term, and this is a term, and the operation that's separating them is addition. So when we write our terms, we're going to write it like this, 3x, comma, 2, because those are our two terms that we have. Please feel free to pause this or stop this anywhere that you need to. Okay, don't go ahead with it until you get your definitions down. The nice thing about this, in case I go too fast in class. Alright, an equation. An equation is a mathematical sentence that uses an equal sign. Uses an equal sign to show two expressions are equal. So, this is saying 3x plus 2 equals 8. So if we were to solve that, and that's a later lesson, we would see that this expression here is going to equal this one. That is an equation. When you think equation, think equals. Operation. Operation is just any of the four signs representing what you do with a number, sentence, or expression. So there are four operations that we're familiar with. We have addition, we have subtraction, we have multiplication, and we have division. A variable is a symbol that represents one or more numbers. So we can write our variables with any letter, really, but most often you're going to see it as an X, a Y, Z, sometimes G, P, T. Really, any letter can represent a number or a variable. And we're going to see those a lot in our equations from this point on, because we're going to look at algebraic expressions for a lot of what we do. So get familiar with symbols and letters being in our mathematical equations, because that's not going to go away. A coefficient. A coefficient, the fancy way to say it, is a numerical factor of a term that contains a variable. Now that sounds like something you probably don't know. So really just think of it as the number in front of a variable. So if there is a number right in front of a letter is the variable, then that's a coefficient. So we have one coefficient in this particular expression. One number that's right connected to the variable, and that number is 3, so that's our coefficient. Okay, so it's any number that's in front of a variable, but it's got to be directly in front of the variable. It can't be separated by an operation, which is that plus sign. So our only coefficient in this one is 3. A constant is a number without a variable. So a constant is this term right here. Constant is a number because that number is not going to change. It's not going to be affected by this, like the 3 is. The 2 is going to stay what it is, which is a 2. A number without a variable. And the variable is a letter or symbol. And that's the end. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to go back. I want you to pause. I want you to get these definitions down. We're going to go through them in class and do some examples in class, but you have to be ready for this tomorrow. So go back, pause where you need to, write down the definition, write down the example, and then what I want you to do is, if you can, glue it in your notebook tonight. If not, right when you get in class tomorrow, before the bell rings, if you can, get it glued into your notebook so we can move right on to examples, okay? Because right now you're just getting down your notes, all right? So please make sure you're ready for tomorrow and make sure all those definitions are done. You can watch this video as many times as you need to.